he's got the lock now. Ooh. Oh, Muay Thai, mate. Muay Thai, bro. In this video, we're going to look at Fabian Edwards, a fighter I've been training for his Bellator world title against Johnny Ebelin. That's going to be September 23rd in Dublin. Really good fight. I took him up to Wales to spar Charles Sikwa from the Eagles Muay Thai gym in Cardiff. So I thought it'd be really good for Fabian to move around with Charles, who's a very experienced striker. I think he's had 50 pro fights in Muay Thai and kickboxing. I've been following Charles for a long time. We used to fight on the same shows together back in the day, and he moves really well for a big man. I think Charles has been fighting around 85 to 90 kilo, I'm gonna guess. You know, he's a big man for a Muay Thai fighter, but he moves really well. He's got a slick style, really good boxing. If you've never heard of him before, I highly recommend checking him out on YouTube. He's got some banging fights on there against some really dangerous geezers. So Fabian is not a Muay Thai fighter. You know, he's classified probably as a striker, similarly to his brother Leon Edwards, the current UFC welterweight champion. But at the same time, he's not a specialist. So to go up to another gym and spar a guy in his particular discipline, in his sport, I feel like, I think it's quite cool. You know, you're always going to be out of your comfort zone in those situations. You know, even though he might be known as a striker, Fabian's a really good wrestler. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, so if he's like having a bit of trouble on the feet, he's inclined to take things down, whereas in this situation he can't. So they did some sparring. I think they did 8 3-minute rounds. You can go check that out over on my Patreon channel. The link will be in the bio. I thought about putting this video up as just a video as it is, but because of the music in the background and the YouTube copyright, they'd probably just take it down. Yeah, that's just the bane of any YouTube creator's life, is music in the background. So I'm just going to have a look at the video now and just go through and dissect some of the clinching. So because they'd already sparred, they'd got the rounds in, you know, I felt like this was almost a bit of a cool down, just more technical, and just for Fabian to get a different look and improve his clinch game. He's got a very good clinch anyway, just like his brother. But, you know, I feel like because Charles, this is his game, he spent a lot of time in Thailand, he's had so many fights, you know, it's going to be good for Fabian to get some work in. So if you notice, it's a lot about the control in the head. That's the main battle here. They're kind of like pushing each other around, trying to get little off balances and then pull on each other's neck. This is a really taxing thing. Like if you've got someone hanging off your neck, using their weight and pulling you down, breaking your posture, it's just knackering. Watch Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder. He's hanging on his neck all the time, and that's a boxing fight. So for Thai boxing, it's a staple. You know, you're going to throw some punches and end up in a clinch. The same as MMA. I know a lot of the time they're going for like leg attacks with the wrestling, but I think there's a lot of room for Muay Thai clinch within MMA, and I think Fabian's really good at it. So you can see them here exchanging these grip positions. Charles likes this vice grip here, where he clasps his hands together and then almost like goes to pinch his forearms together with one arm underneath Fabian's and one arm over the top around his neck, and this is a really strong position. Fabian's doing a good job though of not allowing Charles to kind of rest. He keeps working him, he's landing his own knees. And then there's this constant control and battle for that inside position. You want your arms on the inside preferably, where you can really hang on the opponent and wear him down. Charles now is going for the one arm control, one neck control. They just had a break and Fabian looked for an elbow on the break, which is really good. So you'll notice as well, Fabian's grabbing the wrists a lot. In MMA, you've got fingerless gloves, so you're going to be doing that all the time. Charles is used to fighting in boxing gloves, so it's something that he's probably finding quite irritating at the moment. But I think it's, you know, it's good for him to get a feel of it, because Charles has actually fought Muay Thai in the 4 ounce. He fought on Muay Thai Grand Prix in the 4 ounce gloves, and I think he's doing it again in November. I think he's fighting for the Muay Thai Grand Prix Muay Thai world title. So you can see them jockeying for position, but I'm trying to encourage Fabian to stand up a bit taller still and not allow Charles to just grab his neck freely and pull it down. They're always looking for these sneaky little elbows, and that's why in a Thai boxing clinch you've got to be always protecting the arm, and that's where Fabian did just there. He hooked his forearm over the top of Sikwa's forearm, and then I'll slow that down and look to elbow on the disengagement. If you can get your forearm over the top of their forearm, like in the crease of their elbow, you can test it by a little pull down, and that might give you the position to pull their arm down and away and create an opportunity for an elbow strike. So they're going back to it, and again, it's just both of them fighting for this inside position. I think Charles at times is a bit tired. He's not in as good a shape as Fabian, because his fight's a little bit further out. So I felt a bit bad for him at times, because you know, there weren't easy rounds in the sparring with Fabs. So again, they're getting the knees off, and sometimes I think Fabian's been a little bit lax with the arm control. Like I told him, you need to kind of pull that arm off. Don't just let him grab your neck. What I found interesting as well was there wasn't many use of the body lock. Because Fabian's from a wrestling background, I expected a little bit more body lock from him, but he didn't do it. And Charles gets a lovely sweep and off balance there. Proper Thai style, I loved it. He's a good geezer, Charles. He's a real nice guy. He was a pleasure to go up there and have Fabian train with him. I was really grateful because he's got a lot of knowledge, man. He's probably an underappreciated guy. I think a lot of guys in Muay Thai, especially from my generation and before that, where there was less social media, less video footage of the fights, they're a little bit underappreciated. And Charles is a real veteran. He's an absolute quality fighter. Here you see Fabian doing the little Thai step, hanging off the neck, really nice stuff, and getting the knees. So it's just grueling, taxing stuff. You're going to get a lot of arm conditioning here. You're constantly pummeling in for position and constantly kneeing. And whilst you're kneeing, you know, guys on one leg, that's when you want to look for an off balance. It's hard to off balance someone when they're squaring up their stance and, you know, got a solid base, both feet on the floor. It's hard to turn them. They'll just step to the side. If you try and pull them to the right and they've got their feet square, they're just going to space that foot out and keep the balance. So it's all about kind of pushing into the person, getting them to push against you, then relaxing and turning them, or throwing a knee to bait them to knee and then turn them off balance as they throw their knee. You can see them constantly shrugging arms off each other. Charles a little bit fatigued there, I think, and Fabs is, you know, he's keeping the work rate high. So he's just asking there about this position, about what I talked about earlier, where you pull that arm down, you get a grip on their forearm, test it, or the crease of their elbow, and you just test it. A lot of the time that's going to be a strong position. If the guy's got, you know, a good grip, he's going to put his palm over your tricep and make it really difficult to do that. So it's kind of like nothing going to come from it if that's going to be the position. But if not, you test it. If you feel like there's a bit loose or a bit slack there, then you rip it down and you can catch an elbow on the inside. So I was also encouraging in a couple of the rounds just to try and strike your way into the clinch rather than just starting off straight there, because obviously, you know, that's how it's going to be in a real fight. So they're throwing some kicks here, maybe a couple of little tappy punches, just to make it feel a bit more realistic. You know, a good time to engage in a clinch is as you're catching, like, let's say, a hook with an umbrella grip. So you block the hook and then you catch it, and you can get yourself inside. If they're throwing a wide hook, then you can step in to grab the neck quite safely, and yeah, it's quite defensively sound. So you're not just always starting off in the position, you've got to work your way in there. And you just saw Fabian catch Charlie with a little sneaky elbow on the entry, and that's how it should be as well. He pulled the elbow, lovely control. You know, these are two world-class athletes. Fabian's fighting for a world title, Charlie's fighting for a Muay Thai world title in the coming months. So, you know, this is a respectful spar, and it, you know, so was the kickboxing spar. And if you want to watch that on a Patreon, I recommend it. Some really good rounds, and you see lots of adjustments. Both of them are thinking fighters. Like Fabian's a sharpshooter, but Charles is also a really good, like, slickster. You see him there as well, where he's just blocking the elbow by bringing his arm over the top of Fabian's there, and almost like putting his arm underneath the armpits. He's really extending it out, and this is a great way of blocking, so the guy can't elbow you. So they're constantly exchanging that position, and it's about just trying to exploit it. It's a grind. That's why in Thailand they'll often clinch for like 30 to 40 minutes, because it's a grinding style, and you've got to build up that level of conditioning. And the more tired you get, the more you make a guy work, the more you're pummeling with the guy, the more you're kneeing him in the gut and breaking his posture down. It's like the later rounds where the guys start to come on really strong with the knees and elbows and start to really get to him. When both guys are fresh, that doesn't matter how kind of good they are in the clinch, they can match it. So there's the Muay Thai clinching style, it's usually about wearing the guy down as the rounds progress. Like, go watch Yudvitya and the guys from FA Group Gym in Thailand. They're always super fit. They've got to have good engines, because you're probably not going to get a guy out of there in the first round with a clinch, unless, of course, you catch him with an elbow entering or a big knee. It's going to be about wearing him down, breaking his posture, and he just can't keep up with you, and you drown him in the grapple. So that was me giving a little insight into a clinch between two world-class athletes. One guy coming from an MMA background, the brother of UFC world champion, and hopefully soon to be Bellator world champion himself, and a top Muay Thai fighter and kickboxer in Charles Sikwa, and two bigger men moving really well. As always, thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, give it a like and a comment. I appreciate it. And again, you can catch me over on Patreon and check more content over there. Catch you later.